tuned into Soul Fusion Cafe, your place for radiant wellness and soul-forward living. Join your host, Jess Juntunen, quantum healer, intuitive, and midwife to the awakening spirit, as we dive into quantum tools, wisdom teachings, and integrated healing pathways for transformation. You can live a life of freedom to be without limitation. Cozy up, grab your tea, and enjoy this hour of expansion, wisdom, and love. Namaste, hello, and welcome to Soul Fusion Cafe with me, Jess Juntunen, your grateful host to be here again with you on another Tuesday afternoon, lunch hour, noon on the East Coast, 9 a.m. Pacific time here at Oneness Talk Radio, streaming at onenesstalkradio.com, as well as Oneness Talk Radio on YouTube and Oneness Talk Radio on Facebook, your portal of positivity. And yeah, it's a beautiful, amazing, gorgeous day to be here together. And this live hour, if you're catching this live, you can hop over and at the chat at YouTube and Facebook, and I do peek at that a few times during the hour. And then if you would like to call in and share a miracle happening in your world, or ask a question about what is being shared, or perhaps you would like a mini reading, you can call 517-208-1500. That is 517-208-1500. So yes, welcome to this amazing, beautiful hour that we get to share together. This hour is really always about, for me, how can I support the community of listeners at Oneness Talk Radio, and whoever chooses to show up is meant to be here. And there is always something, if our soul has guided us, right? It might be one word, or it might be meeting someone else in the chat, or it might lead to something else, but there's always some reason we're called to tune in, where we're called to tune in, and there's always a blessing to be found in it. So if you found your way here, I pray and hope you find many blessings today and in this moment. And I always love to start with a little context and look at, hey, it's 2021. What's going on energetically? It's July 2021, right? So where are we at and what's happening? And it's incredible to me when I was especially connecting with Zafir yesterday, who opened up for a amazing journey called Monday Magic. And if you don't know what Monday Magic is, you want to know, go to shriankira.com and check it out, please, because this is like the ultimate community power hour every Monday evening, where there are sharings about what's happening energetically, like the forecast that Shri and Kira are delivering. They give us a heads up on the energy forecast for the week in these Monday Magics, but more importantly, it goes deeply into the lessons of oneness and the I Am discourses. This is a 12-week journey, but you can join at any time, and it's open to everybody and all. If you go over to YouTube to official Shri and Kira, you can catch the latest editions of Monday Magic. And if you want to level up and up-level your commitment, of course, you can do a donation, where all the donations go to Clinica Linda and the Water Bearers, and supports 100% humanitarian aid projects. And then you get, the beautiful PDF mailed to you of the lessons, and we have the whole week to be with them. And Zafir opened yesterday, and if any of you were at Monday Magic and had the blessing of connecting with him as the opener, he really did remind me of my own experience of this up level, because I was reflecting as we chatted before he was preparing to do the opening for the Monday Magic. Every week there's a member of the community that opens for us, and I met him at the it was 2015, March 2015, and maybe a few of you in the chat were even there or tuning in later. It was the opening of the escalator of ascension that we're currently on is a 7-year journey, 2015 to 2022. And I met him at that event, and it just reminded me of that. And of course, if you connected with him, you just love his energy. We love Sean, and such a humble, amazing self ascension, shining light. And I was just like kind of floored, because I've really been taking this in, that we're in 2021, that we have traversed 6 years. And what's the ascension escalator? In 2015, in March at the equinox, we opened on the whole planet. Some of us came together to assist this opening. But you are all assisting, whether or not you are consciously aware, because we're all on this up level together. And it really has been this opportunity to anchor in fifth dimension, or, anchor in the third, anchor in Earth's dimensionality. And 2021, we're coming to the end of this expansionary period, but 2021 and 2020 came together in this like super expanded energy. So we're going through it even faster than we thought we were going to. And what do I mean by third dimension and fifth dimension? If you're just tuning in and you never really considered these concepts, right? 3D being our amazing life on Earth, our body, everything that comes with being here, and the frequency of the energy being slow enough that objects are solid, that we appear to be solid, right? Important differentiation. And that, it's the life of having a body of form. And then experience is the one of that we all carry a fifth dimensional self, but are we consciously tapping into it and anchoring there, or are we anchoring in the third? So the 3D, it's full of like the playground of emotions and all of the experiences that we have being a human. And the fifth dimensional experience is this expanded multidimensional expression of ourselves that is pure compassion and love in a larger perspective, and the beginning of really releasing judgment and surrendering over to soul. And today's episode is all about that flowing with soul, and that is being in our multidimensional presence. I did a series on multidimensional wellness, but I mean, I could call my whole show multidimensional wellness, because it's really part of like what we are training ourselves to do, is to remember that if we're expanding consciously and choosing to expand our consciousness, right, we are moving into this space of the wider angled lens, the compassionate witness of the body of form, of the one experiencing being a human. But we're not being driven by the belief that we are only this mind and body. We understand that we have a lot more complexity, and that we have what some might call the higher self is really our true self in nature, and it's multidimensional form. And there's the seventh, there's the ninth, there's a whole array. But the fifth and the third, really, we're doing this twinning experience during this escalator. So it's been this journey of being with which earth are you with? You might hear the expression twinning earth thrown around out there, and it's definitely a concept that Archangel Zadkiel and the Archangelic Realm have talked about, who I connect with via Shri and Kira. And the fifth dimension, right, we've got these two planetary experiences. It's like, which one are you going to be on? Because the escalators, I see them like going up, but one's kind of going laterally and one's going this way. So you have to choose which experience you want to be in. And as that ensoulment last night, this beautiful PDF that was printed up, I Am Just Courses and Lessons of Oneness, like it's a choice. Like Zadkiel shared in there in an answer to somebody, I think it was, I can't exactly remember where, but it stuck out to me because I always love this expression, is he said it more than once. You have to make a choice. like sitting on the fence eventually becomes very uncomfortable. Have you tried to sit on a fence post for very long? You're going to have to hop off on one side or the other. And that's really the moment we've been at for a minute here, is to say, hey, where do I want my energy to be focused? What's my reality? Am I going to be sucked into the 3D and all the amazingness that it offers through the allness and the experience of form? Or am I going to anchor my energy in the 5th dimension? And that doesn't mean we don't have a body anymore and we don't have our personality or any of those things, because we're multidimensional as long as we have a body form. But it means that you chose to anchor in the 5th dimensional reality. Does that mean you're literally on a different planet floating in space? I don't know. You feel into the truth of that, because these days, holographic universes and spiral time and time jumping and surfing, we could be in so many different places, and it really goes beyond our mind to form, you know. And as we are connecting in this moment with that idea of, you know, multidimensionality and where are you anchored? And 2021 in July, right now, what is it? July 20th, right? Yeah, July 20th. We're moving to the full moon. We're in this really pregnant moment. That's the word that comes forward to me. Very much a stepping into the center of the truth of who you are is a very important embrace to be considering right now. Who are you truly? And this whole year is truth, chakra, and are you expressing yourself not just through words, through your presence? The words just are a result of your presence. The words will align with the presence you're carrying. Truth chakra is so much bigger than the throat and the sounds we make. It's our presence that we carry in the world. And are you aligned with the truth of who you are? And if you're feeling scratchy, or you feel tight, or it feels like you catch your breath a little bit, you know, just smile at that and relax as well. And just really notice. Say thank you for showing me, you know, and really breathe and consider, you know, maybe after this program is done, or when you have a moment, to really be with this energy of, am I being with the truth of who I am? Like, am I really honoring the self that is seeking to really express? Or am I holding back somewhere? Am I afraid to be who I am? It's legitimate. And all the fears are coming up right now in this intensity. And, you know, I know some of you tuning in are probably tuning into different things that could be happening in the world, like solar flares and planetary alignments and all those things. And yes, those are all having impacts on us. They're all part of the context of what's creating the experience we're having right now. But it's even bigger than that. It's so much bigger than that. We really have to expand beyond even our concepts of the galaxy and bigger, because we are infinite beings. And to really know the truth of that and express it in the world is a big task. It can be extremely easy. It can be really fast, but it also can be very challenging to all the parts of ourselves. So, right, flowing with soul is really being able to allow the true expression of who we are to come through this body of form, to express it into form and to create into this reality, into the 3D, into our multidimensional self, bringing it through every aspect of who we are and really knowing it. And everything is getting thrown at us. And with the intensity of all of the energy flows, I mean, I am sure you're experiencing ascension symptoms. And what are those? Ascension symptoms are experiences when we are going through an up level. And if you are working on yourself, you're doing self-love, self-care, self-work, expanding your consciousness, however you're creating harmony in your world. If you're consciously working on that, you are going to be noticing that all the fears that you have may be coming up and showing themselves as ways to stop you. Or, because fear is an ascension symptom, it's a huge ascension symptom. And or it could be a lot of other things that are showing up. The body is going to get increasingly uncomfortable if we're not really honoring the vessel and what it needs to be nourished and take care of itself, so that it can carry this beautiful spirit through the world, and so that we can have a beautiful relationship with the body. And the things like headaches or being dizzy, or it could be clumsiness is one. It could be very emotional. It could be feeling like you're insane or crazy. It could be so many different expressions coming forward because we're trying to adjust. And when that happens and you're feeling uncomfortable and these symptoms come up, it's just helpful to recognize that that's what it could be, and you could be working through something that, you're doing that work on behalf of many. It could be very big, what you're moving through. And it is the steadfast commitment, focused awareness, complete trust that sees us through. And speaking of that, I think I forgot to give you guys the phone number if you would like to call in. I might have said it earlier, but I didn't put it up on the screen. So 517-208-1500. There it is on the screen if you would like to call in and have something to share, or a question, or would like to request a mini reading. Feel free to call in with that. And we're talking this hour about soulful expansion, flowing with our soul, consciousness evolving, and just really supporting one another in that, having this touch and touch base, and I loved, speaking of crazy, I loved this analogy from Monday Magic. Those of you that are in it, but even if you're not, you seriously, please join it, because you can now just totally tune in on YouTube and it's no sweat, super easy. But the blessing of being crazy. And this is Archangel Zadkiel. I love his humor. He's got it spelled out, Crazy. And he says that stands for clarity revealed and zealous yeses. Clarity revealed and zealous yeses. So yes, I am crazy. He says, stomp up and down. Yes, I am crazy. I just kind of love that, because how often do we sit and go, am I just totally crazy? Especially when you're on this path of awakening, a lot of people might say, you're crazy. Are you crazy? Just come back here and, why don't you just work a 9-to-5 job like everyone else? I mean, it's totally awesome to work a 9-to-5 job, but if that's not what you're doing and you want to do something else, that's like one of those messages you'll hear, right? Or get your head out of the clouds. Or what else do people tell you? What are your favorite stories that you get told by yourself or by others, right? And that you hear. And being crazy is one of those fears that we have. Am I crazy? You start exploring. I literally was like, am I crazy? When I started to explore expanded consciousness consciously and really delved into this work and decided to go ahead and become a healer in a traditional sense, and hang up a shingle and work with people and do coaching and do all of that stuff. And, at first it was just like, maybe I am totally crazy. I'm going to tell people, I opened up these ways where I didn't even know it was possible to talk to ascended beings or angels. And I never really judged it. I'm always open-minded and like, oh, sure, that could be a thing. But I had not personally connected with it until I really had that awakening in my journey of those gifts. And you're like, am I going to be seen as totally crazy, you know? And if you go out there and you're offering your gifts and they're not the old idea of what mainstream is, because we are the mainstream. I love that when Sri and Kira shared that we're the mainstream. Those of us that are working on evolving and lifting and focusing on the divine at all times, you know, that's the mainstream. That is actually the mainstream. But the mainstream of this planet and density is not really embracing that outlook, right? So we have to go way out of our comfort zone. And flowing with soul, as it insinuates, it's a flow and it's so easy. When we're not in that flow, it's going to feel hard and you're going to feel like maybe I'm insane, maybe I'm crazy. That's actually super normal. Like that would be very strange to not actually have that experience if you're going through your awakening. It would be almost like, okay, maybe there's some sort of denial if you just think, oh yeah, I'm totally, totally good. Like there's no thought of that in my mind, you know, and like really you get to the point, like if I'm crazy, right, it's the clarity revealed in zealous yeses. Clarity revealed in zealous yeses. It's standing in the clarity and really being like, yes, yes, yes. And whatever the outside world or your ego comes up and tries to throw you, the ego is always going to try. It's always going to be there, being super sneaky and attempting to, you know, sneak its way in there and tell us like, oh yeah, well, you're actually insane. I mean, that probably happens to me several times a week, guys. I will be honest. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's like, if you know you feel uplifted, doesn't matter what label your mind's trying to put on it. If you know you're feeling the call of your soul and you're dancing to it and responding to it, thank the ego for coming in and trying to have a judgment about that. Thank the fear for showing up. And that whole ensoulment from last night is about what? Counting your blessings in the coming storm. Counting your blessings. And if you're navigating the inner matrix, the most amazing program on the planet, in my opinion, to anchor in your multidimensional understanding, to really foundationalize the body of form, and the peace, love, and joy is the foundation to expand from. It's dovetailing with that perfectly, because we're really studying and stepping into the gratitude, you know, and these messages are encoded. They're more than the words on the paper, those of you that delve in. There's energy when you read it and spend time with it, a transmission of energy that's happening through the words. And through both of these journeys, navigating the inner matrix and Monday magic and seeing what's coming forth, that this gratitude plateau that is discussed in navigating the inner matrix, the gratitude plateau, and the blessings, counting your blessings, ensoulment that we're studying this week in Monday Magic. It's just really bringing home that, can you be thankful for everything in your experience, all of it? Because this is the key to lifting and expanding and being able to really flow with that soul, is to release that which would hold us back from enjoying that flow, that which would be the impediment to it. And often what's the impediment to it is our fear and doubt. It's, you know, that's what stops us in our tracks, is you go into that fear and it says, oh no, maybe I was wrong. I'm just going to go back, play it safe or whatever. And Zafir would say, it's perfect. It's all perfect. Any choice you make is a perfect, but make a choice. Just make the choice. Being in the place of not making the choice is so uncomfortable until you make one. It doesn't matter which one you make. Just make it and live it fully. 3D, 5D, make it and live it fully. But make a choice, right? And make a choice about gratitude and seeing the blessings in everything. Because there is, and this is definitely That's why I love navigating the inner matrix, because it really helps you to, and you can take this as a home study if you did not get into the live program. Go to streetandcure.com and learn more. And I have the blessing of being a coach for this program and having gone through this program many times. And I'll tell you, in this up-leveled energy right now, it's blowing my socks off, because it's like we're going deeper and we're expanding it, and it's becoming even more rich, and it's becoming even more profound in my life. It changed my life completely the first time I took this program, because it's not just the words like, yeah, be grateful and have blessings. We hear that a lot, you know, especially now in consciousness communities. That's common. Like, we work on our gratitude, right? But to really reprogram the ego and the mind takes a diligence and a practice, right? And it really takes being like grateful for everything, and the stuff that can get in our way of really flowing and expanding and being in that freedom of our soul is the unforgiveness and the not recognizing the gifts. I mean, when we recognize the gifts and we also have the forgiveness pieces, we are, it's like you're putting all of the soap, or I'm trying to like look for the analogy here. It's like you have this really sticky, disgusting pot that you burned everything on, and it's like you're putting on that really amazing soap that cleans up and breaks down all of the crust before you, and you soak it before you start scrubbing at it, right? This like is like what helps you soak the crust off, right? We all have like this crust. It's like your soul's the pearl, and it's got all this crust around it, and we're polishing it off so that it can radiate more, because everything we're looking for is inside of us, right? And it's the gratitude and the forgiveness pieces that help us release the stickiness, that help us to transcend and move through that lesson that was offered to us from the grit of the experiences. So it's easy to be really grateful for like a beautiful day. Are you grateful for the stormy day, right? And the storm that is talked about in the lessons of oneness, right? Are you able to be grateful for whatever's present, you know, the metaphorical storm, the storms that are happening in the world? We look around and we see it's a stormy place, and we really don't have a choice about the storm. The storm comes, the storm's here, right? You can't be in a literal storm. You don't say, well, Mother Nature, I'd like you to turn the storm off now. It's going to run its course. And in nature, right, after a storm or after a big disaster, I love that they talk about this in the discourse too. Like a forest fire comes to mind as an example, as there are all these forest fires, and my heart is around like everywhere, and I'm just holding the prayers around our own region with it being so dry and being in the forest as well. And we've had a lot of smoke here from the Minnesota fires and fires in Canada that have drifted across Lake Superior. So it's been hazy, you know, and I'm just really holding love around people and lives that are affected, and remembering that in that action in nature, the forest fires are required for particular trees to even germinate, right, and grow. And it also clears areas of the forest for new understory and plants to grow and new animals to come, and it fertilizes the soil, and all these things that happen as an act of nature. And flooding and rains are very cleansing, and the planet is going through a lot. She's birthing right now, and she literally can't take us sending our energy into her or anything like that. Like, we have to really be transmuting and responsible about this, because she's shaking stuff off. If you send stuff into her, it's going to come bouncing right back at you, regurgitated. So don't send into her, send love around her as she's birthing and realizing that she's in the storm as well. And that's a method of transformation, you know, right? Fire, transmutation, rain, flooding, cleansing, all of the actions. And then the metaphorical storms that we're seeing in the world of density, we're seeing, I mean, it is a storm and a storm and a storm and a storm all over the place. And are we focusing on that, you know, or are we, you know, coming into the peaceful center and we have our own, you know, stuff in our own lives, and the storms come and they go, and something beautiful is left after. Can we trust that something is happening here, and that we could find the peaceful center or be ripsawed around in that storm? So I highly recommend, when this PDF goes up to the public, getting it at ShriAndKira.com, Lessons of Oneness. Message 2, you know, I highly recommend getting into Monday Magic. You can tune in at YouTube and just stream it. Go to official Shri and Kira, because I know, for one, I'll be with this message all week. And if you're in that community, you're invited to as well. And there's so much to be gained from that. And speaking of blessings and community, I would love to go over and grab the phone line. It looks like we might have Vermont on the line. Hello, Namaste, Vermont.
Hey there, Jess. Thank you.
Hi, Namaste, Kim.
I'm calling because I just want to share. I had 2 very huge miracles happen, like one day after I walked through my fear, where everything on my Avesa journey seemed to be like falling apart. I'm like, nope, I'm not going to be afraid. I'm going to walk through this, and boom, stuff just started happening to keep me going. The miracles, it's going through the fear and being so grateful, being supported. I'm just calling in to get a mini soul reading. Much appreciated.
Awesome. Well, first, I am celebrating you, and I know the community is, because it's such a miracle. You walked through the fear and immediately had all of these gifts come in, and saw the gift of the fear as well. So that's fantastic. And I would love to offer you a mini reading. I'm just tuning in and inviting you to connect to your heart. Take a breath. And as I connect with you, I get immediately the presence of that queenship energy is front and forward. She's putting on her crown. She's got big, giant, beautiful wings, a beautiful big staff. And it is very much the benevolent queenship. It's very much the just beautiful knowing, a strength. It's like a quiet strength that is you, that you are stepping into and that you are embracing. And the message they're sharing with me right now is to just allow yourself to really dance. They're showing it like you're in the spiral, and you're in the center of that spiral, and it's like this beautiful tube of spirals coming up around you. And that as you dance and you breathe and you just keep gazing up, keeping your eyes focused on the divine, on the light that is. And it's like you're just being easily lifted. It's so easy that everything else, the fear and anything else, it just falls away. It just falls off. And you have this ability to just really stand in. And when you claim that benevolent and loving and firm, but wise, but kind queenship, that it's so easy to just stand in that space and let yourself be lifted and just breathe. In this moment, I trust myself. I tell myself the truth. And remember, you are a master and you know what you are doing. You have got this 100% and you are doing it. Thank you so much for calling in, beloved.
Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste. Beautiful. I love the call board. So if anyone else wants to call in and you feel the nudge, it's 517-208-1500. 517-208-1500. And if you ever are like, hey, I didn't catch the show live, or I'm in a different country and I can't figure out how to call because it's not an international number, send me an email. Send me an email to jess@selfascensionstudios.com. You know, if you go to my website, I'll throw that up on the screen, selfascensionstudios.com. I have a contact form right in there that you can easily fill out as well and check things out there too. But hey, if you want to have share a miracle or request a reading or ask a question, go ahead and send me an email. I'd love to share it on air. And just popping in the chat. Oh, hello, beautiful Jean. I don't know if your ears were ringing, but I was talking about the beautiful connection and love that you gave us last night. I'm so happy you're in the house. And Pawan and Gary and Lynn, namaste beauties, and B, Alice. Oh, hello, soul schooling group. Oh, beautiful. Tim, Angela, Aleya, beautiful beings, welcome and thank you. And oh my gosh, 9 days till you're a Tosa B. I am celebrating that miracle. That is so incredible. I'm so happy for you. And namaste and love, everybody. I'm just seeing all the love. Aw. And you know, it's just a beautiful time to come together. I love to create these spaces where we can really remind each other of, you know, what we're doing here, who we are and what we're doing, because we go about our day-to-day interactions and sometimes we get lulled to sleep a little bit. We get a little sleepy in the density realm, right? It's easy for those messages to kind of start percolating in, like maybe I'm crazy after all, or maybe, you know, living my dream, maybe that's just, you know, is child's play. I got to get back to business over here, or whatever, you know, maybe I'm just a loser anyhow. I'm sorry. That's what, you know, I'm only speaking from experience, but like the messages that come up, right? They just start to come up if we spend too much time in density, and our ego is going to be triggered and we're going to kind of forget. We get drowsy or forgetful. So having these communities and spaces is such a way to help us be reminded of the truth of who we are and just connect. You know, whatever is being shared here, really it's about the energy, it's about the connection, and having a place that says, oh, okay, I remember who I am as I remember who you are, you know, and as you connect in the chat or on calls or just energetically, whether you're here live or in the recording, knowing it's a energy that we remember when we connect with each other, and it just helps us in every day connecting in some way. And this challenge that I really impress upon you to take on is this blessings challenge that came also from the ensoulment. And I can't help it because the ensoulment's so awesome and it's so perfect for this time. Why wouldn't I pull from it? You know, and they talk about, Archangel Zadkiel talks about counting your blessings every day. And so I really encourage you to take this challenge on. Get the ensoulment, tune into Monday Magic, or if not, just count your blessings. Take the moment every day. And you'll be amazed by how many you have. I mean, just walking and breathing and having a body is a blessing, right? And I'm sure there's so many more things that we can find blessings for, even in the darkest times. One tiny little light and remembering a blessing will get you through. I have been there. I have been in the absolute darkness and said, hey, this is where I'm going to stay a while. That's what's comfortable and known. Been through that, been there, done that, right? And I know it is the calling forth and noticing of a blessing. Maybe it's a person that reaches in through that dark and reminds you of who you are. Maybe it's a miracle happens. Maybe it's just the smallest acknowledgement that you trust that you will be okay. Just that little bit of trust that you will move through this is that little bit of light and blessing, right? Saying our blessings in the hardest times as a great moment of spiritual tenacity, and then moving into the blessing of everything, the allness, right? That Zadkiel talks about. And that is talked about also in our Navigating the Inner Matrix. And allness, right? All experiences are of the divine. All of them. There isn't just the ones that feel so yummy and good and connected and shiny. You know, the shadow is of the divine as well. And the experiences that are our fears are also the blessings. And this is the part of the lessons. And, you know, what really has been resonating with me to share is like, get very clear on this is a blessing. And even if I can't completely accept that on my ego level yet, maybe my emotional body is like, yeah, I just don't really see the blessing in that situation. You know, there are but even the hardest ones are a blessing. And it's a blessing if we can just realize like, hey, I'm not all the way there yet. And that's a blessing. That's a blessing. And accepting wherever you are at any time. If you're in fear, love it and accept it instead of judging it. And something really rang true also for me was Zafir was sharing about, you know, are you counting your fears or counting your blessings? I needed that reminder personally, because last week I spent the better part of a couple days really ruminating on fears. There's been so much expansiveness. And as we move towards our next up level in our own personal experience and as a collective, the thing, like I shared earlier, right? What comes forward is those things that would seek to stop us, the fears and the doubts. And every time we up level, there's going to be more. And as long as you're a human being, there's going to be more. There's never going to be an end. I used to really be naive and think that, and that's totally fine, but it's not true. As long as you have a human form, you're going to have more layers and more things every time you up level. So I was definitely in that. I was in all this opportunity presenting itself to me everywhere. Blessings. But my mind and my emotions were in the what if fears. Like, what if this thing happens and then it all goes wrong? Or what if I make the wrong choice? Or what if? And, you know, it was so not being in the present moment. It was being in fear of a million future outcomes. And what it was really showing me was how strong this pattern could still come up for me in times of up level and change and shift and growth, you know? So when I read that in Soulmate yesterday, I was like, yeah, I was so there. I was counting my fears. So ask yourself that. Are you in the habit? Because this is a habit, counting our fears and our anxieties, and it's reinforced by our society 100%. Because if you walk around talking about your blessings all day, people start looking at you sideways, and that's fun, right? If you just could make the blessing out of everything and watch what people say and how they react, that's fun. But if you walk around and talk about what you're afraid of, you'll just get people affirming and confirming your fear for you, or sharing their own fear, or it'll trigger their fear, or their fear will trigger yours. And it's a big, huge buffet of fear. And it's super duper normal. And, you know, partners in pain relationships that Zafir, he talks about this in Sacred Union, The Journey Home. The partners in pain and being in the pain of the pain. It's so habitual that we could easily go into that drowsy space if you're out there and the fear comes up, or you're just going through a massive up level and the ego will do everything it can to stop you. I love, like, the beloved caller walking through that fear last week. And I know so many of you others tuning in have been walking through some fears, and the smile of the universe and your soul when you do that says, oh, God, that wasn't as scary as I made it out to be before I walked through it. And you walk through it, and there's all these gifts on the other side. And then we learn to trust that, right? We learn to trust that. And we say, hey, no matter what's going on in the world, yes, there's storms are raging, things are happening. And I can be in the fear or I can be in the calm center. One or the other, and we're training ourselves. So be patient and have mercy. The whole key of this is to release all judgment, When we judge, that's one of the steps of self-ascension, release judgment, right? When we judge, we're compounding that which we're trying to release, because now we put a judgment on our fear. Why do you still have that coming up? Oh, your ego is still active about that. Oh, you still did that thing after all this time. Your ego gets so sophisticated, and as you're on a spiritual journey, it will develop the spiritualized ego, and spiritualized ego is running rampant on the planet. It's so fat and happy right now because it is oh, I'm, righteous. Whether or not it's about spirituality or not, it's about righteousness. It's still about judgment, and it will just adapt more sophisticated language. So as you evolve consciously and you feel like you quote unquote messed up one day or something happened, and then the ego says, oh, look at you. After all this work you did, you're still doing X. You still have that thing going on, don't you? Look at you now. And it's always going to come up and do that when you're on the moment of a breakthrough. So if you can smile and just say, oh, what a blessing. I've got an ego. It's trying to keep me safe. That's the blessing. It's saying, oh, I'm scared. And then when you can really just not judge your reactions or what's in front of you, you can release the charge so much more quickly and expand through it, right? The safe process. This is one anybody can be learned or taught. And it came forward in navigating the inner matrix. And it's simple, safe. Stop, acknowledge, feel, expand. That's what the SAFE, S-A-F-E stands for. Stop, hand to heart. When you notice a fear coming up that's so strong, or you notice another feeling in your being that's so strong, hand to heart, stop. Take a breath. Take an Avesa breath if you know that one. Breathing in Ave. Exhaling. If you can just stop yourself in the intensity of the emotions or feelings or thoughts that are coming up. Acknowledge you have been triggered. Acknowledge it. I've been triggered and I'm swimming in the river of the ego. I'm in fear land. I'm in anger, whatever feelings are coming up. Yep. And then feel it. Feel it to heal it. We're not going to swim in it or stay there, but let yourself feel where is that present in my body? Be aware and feel it for a moment. And then breathe and expand through. Expand your heart, expand your breath, smile, move through it. Safe process. And anytime you feel triggered, try this one out. Stop, acknowledge, feel, expand. And speaking of expanding, let's go over and grab another caller. Looks like we got New York on the line. This might be B. Namaste.
Namaste, beloved.
Oh, it's so good to hear your voice.
I'm so excited, and I can't thank you enough. When you said to join, it was amazing. It's everything, just firming up everything since I said yes to WWA. I mean, you guys, I can't say enough about Jess. She's the best coach. She's been holding space for me since the beginning of going to TOSA. I mean, if anybody has doubts, NIM is the course for you. If you're living in fear, NIM is the course for you. And saying yes to yourself, there is no fear. There is no more fear anymore. It's just simply plugging in every morning. Every night I plug in. When I'm in a drive or when a client gets into my car, I just simply plug in. It's like checking my phone every day. It's checking my heart every day, every moment. And the gifts keep giving. It's like non-stop. Every time I have a doubt, I just breathe through it, and it's like amazing. As you know, I got a new truck for my business. I walked away from one offer, and I said, it should not be this hard to get this. And sure enough, 3 weeks later, I had a new truck. The next thing, I mean, I could sit here and tell you all the blessings and share for the past 3 months just alone in blessings. And Jess, you're definitely my loved one, because you've always held space through it all for us and everybody that's participated in that class and all the courses.
Oh my gosh.
So I just wanted.
Thank you. Oh my God. I'm like gonna bawl, and I'm full of goosebumps, and my heart is so expanded. I'm loving that we're sharing this moment of connection, and everything you shared. It's just been my honor, and one of my biggest blessings of continuing to say yes is to be able to have these moments, these connections, this community. And I would not be if it was not for you. So I bow before you and thank you for saying yes, and celebrate all of your miracles, because that's for me. What B is doing there, everyone, that's for me, right? Those miracles are for me, because we can all do this. And I'm just like, I'm your biggest fan. I just like, keep going, B. I love it. And I love you and everything that you are doing. And so excited for your upcoming trip. I mean, let the miracles keep going. And yes, Nim is flipping amazing. And thank you for sharing your experiences.
Anytime, Jeff. I can't wait to tell you. One day I'm just going to connect the dots and just write the outline. It's been nonstop since March. Like, all the miracles that have come in, if I sit there and count, I will lose track. I really one day have to write it out of the whole timeline since March till now. It's been unbelievable.
Wow.
Unbelievable. And my kids are starting to see it too. And that's the amazing thing. My son, I going to send them to camp, and the camp canceled, and my kids were so disappointed. And then I said, well, summer's hasn't begun yet, and let's put it out there that you're going to go to camp. I swear to you, Jess, a day later, a camp owner called me. I wasn't able to tell him, but I told him the scenario, what happened, and he said, no problem. I will match that camp. And he did. The kids are leaving for summer camp tomorrow. Oh. The hubby is going to Chicago for a week. And you know what? I honored myself, and I said, wait, I need time for me. I'm going to go back to Tosa. It's calling me. It's telling me it's time, and I'm going.
Oh my God.
And I've never done anything like that, without guilt. It was just a whole thing of just moving through it and saying, yes, it's okay to go away. It's okay to do something for you, and that's going to better you and everybody else around you. Why not?
Yes, 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 yes. I am dancing. I'm so excited. And because of your yes, and saying your yes, and walking through it, and being like, wow, I don't even feel guilty about this, and seeing that shift, I'm like, holy mastery, calling it in. I can't even imagine. I mean, I can, but it's going to be even better. What's going to happen for you this time you go to Tosa as well and return. And I cannot wait to just, connect with you more and hear about all the continued miracles. Thank you. Your commitment, your steadfast commitment, focused awareness, and complete trust is the example of what self-ascension does for somebody in their life. And it's incredible. I bow before you. Thank you so much, B.
It's so true, Jess. We're better together, and I thank you and everybody, and I thank this community so much. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you. Oh my God, I'm like gonna bawl, like for real, everybody. This is why, we do this, and together we are better in this community. And March that B is talking about, that was the Women Wellness Awakenings that we started in March, which somehow feels like a lifetime ago, which was just a few months ago. And in September, we'll have another Women Wellness Awakenings WWA event, and we have the mentoring. And just an example, another being that has been saying yes, and so much happening, and those miracles that you are sharing. And when we witness and see the miracles another is experiencing, it reminds us of our own miracle making capacity. And by being the light and just shining it and being it and showing it and trusting and seeing, like, all of the ways everything continues to show up. It just continues to build that trust, and we anchor in it some more, and we anchor in that light, and we really flow with our soul. It's not supposed to be hard, right? It's not supposed to be hard. It is that phone call that just comes in, or the offer on the house, or the truck, or the job, or a person that shows up, or a book, or whatever, but it's being open through that portal of embracing the gifts and the blessings, and embracing the essence and the truth of our nature. The universe is working for us all the time. And if we're not getting what we think we want, then we say, thank you. There's something for me here. I've been attracting this into myself. What would I like to attract into myself now? From the choice of saying yes to the truth of my being and who I am. And oh my God, it is the end of the hour, and that's incredible. Hey, it has been so amazing to flow with soul with all of you. Namaste and hello and goodbye. And we will be together next Tuesday at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. This has been Soul Fusion Cafe with me, Jess. And if you want to check out my website, there it is, selfascensionstudios.com. You can always grab a free discovery session if you're curious about working with me, or check out what else is there and what's on offer. Always new amazing things. And of course, check out ShriAndKira.com, join Monday Magic, hang out with us, check out the other shows at Oneness Talk Radio. So many amazing things happening. And, I truly hope that you have an amazing, blessed day. And I look forward to the next time we get to connect. Namaste and many blessings.